Christopher, why don't you tell us about your first direct experience with angels? How did that come about?
Well, my first direct experience of angels was at the Baha'i Center in San Diego. And I had been teaching meditation there to a group of people, approximately 50 people. And we were really working with traditional meditation techniques like from Zen meditation, which I'd learned as a teenager, and Vipassana techniques, transcendental meditation. And we were gathering one night when there was really an event, a world event that had people very anxious and somewhat fearful. So we were going to do a peace meditation. And in the midst of beginning the peace meditation, I suddenly felt the presence of Archangel Michael. And I absolutely knew that this was Archangel Michael. Prior to that time, I actually had very little interest in angels. And if you had asked me about angels, I would have said, I bet they'd make a beautiful sentimental Hallmark card for your great aunt. So here I was in the midst of teaching the meditations class, and here was the presence of Archangel Michael. I could feel Michael, I could sense him, and everyone in the room could feel this too. Literally a wave of energy swept through the room, and we were all caught up in this experience. And it's very different than my prior background. Not long before that, I had left a career in aerospace. I worked for TRW, and I worked on satellite systems there. We programmed satellites. And I had started 3 small software companies after TRW. So just about maybe 8 or 9 months before that experience, I'd left that last software company, and I'd started to do quite a lot of yoga and deepen my meditation practice. And of all things, I decided to go back to college and study music. So I was spending most of my day around composition, keyboards, classical guitars. And without realizing it, in hindsight, I realized I was rebalancing my brain from years of science, years of technology. And it's this combination of doing the yoga, the music, the sound, and we'll talk a lot about sound healing later too, that really opened my intuition up to be receptive to that presence of angels. One of my favorite Christmas carols is Noel. And in that Christmas carol, Noel, think of who the angels appeared to. And it's Noel, Noel, the angels did sing. But the angels appeared to certain poor shepherds in sleep where they lay. Right, so the angels appeared to the shepherds, not to the governor, not to the rabbis, not to the spiritual authorities, but to these shepherds. And I often wondered, why would that be? And when I thought about it, it's because they were so receptive. They spend their time in nature. They go to sleep at sunset. They rise at dawn. They're attuned to nature around them, tending their flock. They're aware of the other animals. And so they're very open intuitively, and their minds are not so busy and full. So when we were doing our process to connect to these angels, the fact that we started with traditional meditation techniques, breathing exercises, ways of focusing the mind, quieting the mind, that's what opened the experience up. When you calm the nervous system, still the body, quiet the mind, your intuition becomes much more powerful. So we were all very receptive that night. The other reason is that there was a call for help that night. There was a call for grace because people were anxious, nervous, afraid of this world event. And that call was answered. When we gather in a group, a call to spirit, a call to source is always stronger than when we're gathering individually. So here we were, amidst of this meditation group. Archangel Michael appears to our group, not just me, really witnessed by the entire group. And there was this wonderful energy and this immediate sense of peace and this sense of divine connection and a sense of divine order. Oftentimes people will say, how do I really know I'm in the presence of an angel? And the way that we know that is we are literally transported into a much deeper sense of peace, of serenity, of connection, and we can absolutely feel it. We know that it isn't a projection from our mind or imagination, it's really a direct experience. So Michael went on that night to give us primarily an energetic experience, but also a message of the times that we were living in. And it was really a fascinating message. He started off by saying we're coming to a time of greater consciousness, greater unity, and a time where love will have more and more of an impact upon all the people on earth. And that sounded wonderful. right? That sounds great. It's expansive. And I sort of imagine this chart from my business days where at this place of consciousness and divine love, and it's going to go up just like a stock that's rising in price right over time. But then Michael went on to say simultaneously, and this was back in the 1980s, simultaneously, we're going to experience greater fear and greater darkness. And that's not a linear process, and that took a little bit for me to get a handle on.